Oh my god, I did the same thing again. Oh my god. Welcome everyone to Moonblast Power Rankings for for MBA Moonlit Battlers Alliance. I am here with Ari.
Oh, you didn't say the season 4. I was waiting for you to go back and say that again.
It's also season 4. Thanks. And
yeah, it's season 4. I'm Ari.
And that's Thriller.
Hello, Haunch is bad with English, but don't mind us, we'll help him.
Go jump off a dump.
Haunch has had a long week. I'll cut him some slack for that.
Haunch has had a long week. Anyway,
He
sorry
gets
these are so
one
late.
pass.
Life is a problem. But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, just get rid of the problem, right?
You're right.
Stop living your life.
Oh my God,
quit your job. That came out bad.
Yes.
That's not how I meant to say it. Oh my God.
That's going on the internet, folks.
Alrighty then. Anyway, little preface. This is completely our opinions. We're doing this mostly just to have fun, because we have fun here. We're goats. I don't know what else to say.
Also, if you are those guys that get so protection of your team and all that, literally, again, like you said, it's opinions. Do you think our opinions really matter? We're just a group of people in a draft league community playing with Pokemonsters.
Yeah, like, if you like your team, then that's cool.
And plus, you can just prove what your team can do. Just prove why it's good.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm always really low on PRs, and I always do really good, so...
yeah. I'm surprised I'm always high on PRs for some reason.
Shush! Spoilers. Alright. Well, before these two jokers spoil anymore, let's get on to number 16.
Wait, I'm not even on these PRs. How am I spoiling?
Exactly. Alright, we got...
I wasn't even talking about this one!
Ahmed Farouk Kakir. I know
we do apologize for butchering your name. We have no idea how to spell this.
We know how to spell it.
Ahmed
Farouk. Know how to say it. Alright.
Alright, guys.
Anyway.
Ahmed Farouk Kakir.
Right off the bat.
I don't know what syllables to emphasize. There you go.
I don't know. Anyway, number 16. First thing that jumps out, this team is dirt slow. The fastest being Mega Guardy, and the only mon that actually wants to run speed is Mega Guardy. So it's...
Yeah.
And Rose
Your second fastest Pokemon is a defensive Pokemon. And then they're all slower from there.
It's a lot of bulk, and not a lot else.
Yeah, the way
it can be good sometimes.
Oh yeah, I definitely think a team that kind of relies on having a bulk defensive core to pair with a few offensive pieces definitely works. But I feel like this team just has all really good single Pokemon, but then pushed together, it just doesn't match up in a way. Again, you just need some speed that fits here and there, and then have reliable bulk. That just looks like it's too much bulk to make easy usage of taking advantage of speed creeps with offensive with modest and adamant sets and everything.
The main problem that I have is bulky teams work. Often stally teams do work, but something that makes it effective is they have an active way to take down the opponent. The only real active things...
Yeah, Mega Gardevoir just isn't that.
Not really. But it's just Skarmory for hazards. And Rose Raid with spikes. That's it. I mean, if you're running a bulky team and you only have, effectively one hazard setter, because you're probably going to want Rose Raid to be cleaning up a lot of games.
And plus, it's also the only hazard removal on the team.
Yeah, which is... bad because
that's a massive downgrade for Skarm to have to run not only hazards but defog on the same set, and more times than not, it's only running rocks if it's going to rely on Gardevoir.
Yeah, that really makes it taunt bait too, because you want rock, spikes, defog, and roost on your set every single week. You don't have an attacking move anymore. If you get taunted, that's just it. You're hard swapping out.
Yeah, and that's another thing, is you're only really going to be hard swapping out because you only got Gumshoes and Iron Hands as pivot.
Doesn't Goodra get Volt Switch?
No.
No.
What? No.
Does it not?
No, it never did.
I thought.
What am I thinking of?
Joking there.
No.
You're thinking of Iron Hands that gets Volt Switch.
No, it's definitely not a new one. I don't know what any of the new Pokemon do.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, Iron Hands gets Volt Switch, so it can actually be a good slow pivot, but you're wasting a move slot with Volt Switch, though.
It's effectively like pivot into what? I mean, it's
Exactly.
really just Mega
It's
Guardy.
just pivot into bulk, pivot into bulk, pivot into bulk.
It's
I
very,
really want to find out what I'm thinking now. I'll do that later.
it's just not effective as a bulky team, frankly.
And you can see Wooper's rating. He is not very approved of the team.
No, he only gets one Wooper. Unfortunate. Alright, moving on to number 15, we got Crimfinity. Crimfinity always seems to come up with the whack shit, and to have a Zapdos on there. First things first, triple protein core, base choice.
Literally only
like
just
it.
saw this after we actually were doing rankings, and we literally just noticed he had 3 of them. They're all protein based, and they're all different starter types as well.
It's incredibly based, and I have so much respect for it, but goddamn, the team is kind of shit.
I like it. See, if you kept the first 3 and changed everything else about this, I would draft this.
I honestly, I feel like keep everything else, maybe the Sigilyph, and get rid of the top 3 and make something a little bit more.
Yeah, but what's the fun in that?
I don't know. Possibly winning. I don't know. It's just.
I think he can win with this team.
It's very weird and absurdly Ice Weak.
Yeah, but there's also one thing we need to put out with Greninja. Greninja not only is a lot of protein, but I believe Haunch did state that he can also use Battle Bond.
Yes, that is correct.
Well.
It does have the ability Battle Bond.
It's 2 options, which I think is going to give Krim one slight advantage in terms of prep with having Greninja, because everyone's going to think he's protein, but he can just show up 1 week with Battle Bond and just counteract and sweep someone possibly. So he does give options for his protein users.
Yeah, it's.
I definitely think Battle Bond's a lot better when you don't know your opponent's bringing it every single week, too.
It's just another factor that they have to prepare for, which is kind of cool.
Exactly.
But I honestly I don't know about the rest of this team. I mean, yeah, you got your 3 protein mons, but it's like it's cool gimmick wise, but effective.
Personally, I do think he's got some good pieces on here. Like, I personally think Sylveon's one of the better fairies in the Draft League format. Aptos being one of the best electrics, hands down, in the Draft League format. Jellicent, honest to be a really good defensive water type.
Oh yeah,
Sigilyph can be good, but it really kind of depends on how you view a matchup with it.
It's
Huzdale, which is the only rocker on this team.
well, Wormadam actually.
Yeah, he's got the Wormadam.
Yeah.
You mean that thing that's irrelevant?
It can run a focus sash and set up rocks, okay.
All I'm saying is if you get your ass swept by Quiverdance, Wormadam, don't come crying to me.
If I do, I'll put it in the thumbnail.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But it's cool, but I don't think it's going to be very good. Frankly,
I think
Really
it's
weak to
decent for
rock
what it
and
is.
ice.
I just really think there's, again, like, you also got to think about it. His only hazards besides being Stealth Rock, like, is then Greninja with spikes and toxic spikes. There's nothing else that really doesn't. Greninja doesn't want to be forced into running hazards on its set when it wants to be more offensive.
yeah,
Well,
it's,
Meowscarada also gets spikes and toxic spikes.
Yeah, that's again the same thing. Meowscarada is better as an offensive breaker than having a hazard lead option in it.
the main problem I think is the first 3 just have the same job, and that's just not good. I guarantee you that you were probably just going for this, thinking it's like, haha, funny protein core, which is funny, but I don't think.
I think it's
super
cool.
effective.
Yeah, I think it's a decent team overall.
We got a few betters, such as number 14 with Copy Ninja's team.
Now with
He's got
Ninja's
the
team,
Terra Licky Licky.
Based.
I like it.
that sure is terrifying.
Shut. Shut.
So, am I allowed to leave this in the middle of it?
After that one, I wouldn't blame you. Well, first thing first, insane offensive core with Urshifu, Melmetal, and Gengar. And then it kind of
And an insane defensive core with Melmetal, Clefable, Gastrodon.
Yeah, that is pretty good. It is pretty good. However,
But all you've got is the top 5.
that's kind of, yeah. I do like the Morgrim pickup though for just being Baby Grimmsnarl, which is kind of cool. But then you're not taking, something more useful. I
Yeah,
think.
the way I view it is like he has definitely one of the not the best fighting or dark type in the format in Urshifu. I think just you cannot find a good switch into that Pokemon. Metal has been definitely a Pokemon that proves it's not a one-trick pony with choice band sets. There's been like Iron Defense Body Press, Special Melmetal, Solar Beam is a thing on this thing. And then you got Clefable, which is arguably the best fairy in Draft League. And it just does so much between Cosmic Power, Calm Mind, Life Orb Magic Guard sets. Like, it has a lot of versatility for it. But this team, again, has few offensive pieces and then kind of relies on, again, some bulk in the back for it. But I still don't think it's too terrible. I think it just relies a little bit more on bulk. Again, it's one of those things as well where it's got okay speed, but it's not a great amount of speed.
That's kind of a trend for a lot of these teams. Is like the speed is just not there, or it's all very. The main offensive pressure comes from, mons that are like 90, 95,
97 on the Urshifu.
So it's like it's a little bit sketchy.
Yeah, but I do agree that Morgrim pick is definitely a slept-on pick. I feel like everyone's never going to focus on that thing. He's going to get up, and then there's just going to be policy sets up there, and just like really hidden threats behind some things. And also, can we give a shout out to Gastron for finally learning Stealth Rocks this generation?
My boy, my son.
Didn't it also get spikes?
It got
I think it
spikes
did.
and stealth rocks, and he's captured the heart.
And we all can agree that Blue Gastro is best Gastro.
Oh, absolutely, without a question. There is no other. Freaking ball hog.
Obviously, there's another right there.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen it before, but
Whoever
it's right
put that there's fired.
Oh my god. Yeah. Overall, I think the thing that mostly holds his team back is just the kind of lackluster speed.
Yeah, and also kind of just like a somewhat top-heavy kind of look from this team, because you kind of figured what kind of your top 6 are. Like the first 5, like you said, can easily be brought every single week. And
first 5 are going to be brought every single week. Plus,
first 5 plus a Licky or Morgrim.
Hey, don't sleep on Talonflame. That's my boy.
You need to find a new boy then.
I 6-0'd someone with a Talonflame, so where's your excuse?
Moving on. We got number 13, Jordan Plays. You thought the last team was top-heavy. This team is like...
It's the definition of top-heavy.
Elephant on a seesaw with a toddler on the other end of it.
Yeah, like, I will say for a top-heavy team, this isn't too terrible of a top-heavy team.
No, when you call this team top-heavy, he's followed up his Spidops pick with Mega Kangaskhan.
I have so much respect.
I mean, also, shoutouts to Jordan for the mascot pick in Crocolore. Easily best logo of the league this season.
Oh my god, yeah.
Man, I got made fun of picking my mascot. Why do you pick that Pokemon all the time?
But yeah, I honestly love the combo of these first 2 picks are disgusting together, but are so good together. Iron Valiant with Celesteela is just disgusting.
I haven't seen Celesteela do much in like a hot minute, so I'm really excited to see what they can pull with this, because I think on this team, it doesn't necessarily have to run defensive every week, because you do have some general bulk with your offense with Kang and Zygarde and Blastoise. So it's not like you have to run it defensive, because the vast majority of your team can at least take one hit and smack back very hard.
Also, something that Hunch also forgot to point out, when it comes to Terra Captains, we're only having Terramons that are 9 points and below, and each coast gets 1.
Yeah, that's right.
The reason I'm pointing this out is because one of the best captains to get for this type of format, in my opinion, is definitely Electro. Great speed, the option for countering act all of the things it's now could never counter because of the cut from Gen 8 and everything, makes Electrode much more viable in this format. It makes it a lot stronger of a presence now in this meta.
It's definitely something you have to take note of, but It's not it's good. It's definitely good. I don't know if it's all that and a side of cheese, but it's definitely something notable, not just kind of like oh.
If there is
Whatever.
something I want to really think is gonna be that kind of holds Jordan's teams back is like, it's kind of a shame when you look at some of these Pokemon. Like you look at something like Blastoise, it's a great user of Shell Smash, but on this team, it has to play so much as more as a defensive water when it could probably have that right match.
Yeah,
Especially since it's the
it's
only
gonna
removal on
rapid
the
spin
team.
with leftovers every day.
It's,
Yeah.
week.
it's the only removal on this team. And Deoxys Speed being the only rocker is also a bit suspect.
Yeah, but he's got Spidops.
That's a Pokemon.
Come on, he
about
picked
Spidops?
he picked that thing 6th for a reason, guys.
I hope so. Sheesh. But
He can run some offensive Deoxys sets. He picked Spidops.
It's a Spidops though.
overall, team's okay. Just extremely top-heavy and very predictable in terms of what the mons are to bring, so I don't think it's going to be the most difficult thing to prep for.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, and as an expensive Pokemon, even, like, you could probably have picked a better rock setter for half the points or less as Deoxys speed.
Yeah. Like Deoxys
Because
defense.
what else does Deoxys speed even do? It sets rocks and then it dies because it's incredibly frail.
Hey, it gets nasty plot.
It's not that frail. 50, 90, 90. It's not terrible. Alright. Well, moving on to Bungus Machungus, easily the best name in the league. Has another case of being slow as
Top
dirt.
heavy.
And top heavy. Well,
Yeah, at least this guy's faster.
Yeah, the thing is, well, I mean, first, like, let's look at some of the individual things on this team. You got an amazing special breaker in Kyurem. Some of the best physical breakers in the game with King Gambit, Lando Team, Mega Gallade. Arguably some of the best and stupidest annoying bulk in the world in Tangrowth and and then
He's
you
got
got
Silvally.
You got Savali as the X Factor, which is kind of cool, but
yeah.
Tarantula being like a suicide lead with webs is probably going to be the main play, I think, for this team. Which is
just because again it's going to be forcing that option for Defog, which then can pull in the King Gambit if it's not running Supreme Overlord and it's running Defiant. Take advantage of that, which could be really nice. Tyrantrum as a Terra Captain, I definitely think was one of the best pickups there.
I don't like that. It's scary.
Well, it's
Terra
good.
Rock.
Yeah. Exactly.
Terra Rock, Rockhead, Head Smash. Name a switch.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're claiming one if that comes in. Oh Jesus.
Yeah, I personally
that's gonna be doing what, half to even 4 times resists.
That probably do like about a third, be a 3 KO guaranteed.
Yeah.
But some of the picks I do love on here, though, I do personally love that Mega Gallade. It is such a good Mega in Draft League. It has just been such a powerhouse. You obviously have the previous king of OU being Lando, obviously being so versatile. I think a lot of people just think of Lando as a physical breaker. There's like
how many sets is that guy up to? Like
it's got at least
30
like,
viable sets.
At least. It's also kind of cool because Mega Gallade gets agility now, which is sick.
So now you have to waste 2 turns setting up.
You don't have to. Whatever. But
Dual Dance is possible if you know how to play it right.
I think the main problem with this team, where is the fairy switch in?
Silvally.
Silvally will have to run pure steel. Or
yeah, Silvally's running steel, poison, or fairy every single.
So that means it's
why would it run fairy if it wants to be a fairy switch in?
It doesn't have any reliable recovery, which means like a strong fairy could just sweep this team really easily.
I do think the pivoting is a little weak on this team. You only have the pivoting from Lando with U-turn, parting shot with Silvally.
Yeah.
I think the offense on this team is very strong. Defense is a little lackluster. It's pretty much reliant around just Tangrowth and Alomola, but it's a regenerator core.
Yeah.
And everyone knows how much fun those are, especially when it is an Alamola Tangrowth, which is disgusting pairing for a defensive core.
But at the same time, just loses to Freeze Dry. I think
That
Yeah.
too. But that's why he grabbed a Freeze Dry Mon, so he couldn't lose to it.
There you go.
Can't lose to Kyurem if none of your opponents have it.
Exactly.
One of the best quotes in Draft League was, "If you don't want to face it, you draft it."
That's as true as it gets, frankly. Yeah. I mean, I think that's it. Do you guys have anything more to say?
No.
All right. Well, moving on to number 11, Frost. This is probably the most copy-paste, like cookie-cutter Gen 6 good draft team.
Yeah, this one is just like, for reference right here, guys, not only is there not a Gen 8 Pokemon, there is not a Gen 7. Well, if you count, well, actually, you don't even count it. There's not a Gen 7 Pokemon. This is strictly Gen 6 and below that he is drafted from.
Like, if you went back to, 2014-13, this team would have been probably top of the PRs. But, frankly, it is good.
There's so much power that's coming in through the years, though. And
Yeah.
if you're not acknowledging it, you're really missing out.
Yeah, I think what's really cool about this team, obviously, he went with one of the more basic core plans. When you grab Mega Vino, you grab Heatran because they pair perfectly with one another, both on a defensive and an offensive standpoint. And he grabbed some really good offensive breakers with Life Orb Zam and then Hydreigon, which has been if it wasn't for the fact that we were doing national decks, Hydreigon would not have been probably as picked up as low or high as it was because of its cuts. But now they get some of its cuts back. It's still an offensive monster. And then obviously Togekiss, being the beautiful goddess she is that will flinch you down with just a single air slash, is just really good.
One of the biggest problems I'm seeing is you don't have any physical breakers except for Dragon Dance Hydreigon. So that kind of makes it easy for your opponents to prep for it.
You just kind of run Spadef and be fine.
I'm gonna say this right now for everyone out there: don't sleep on a Hitmontop. I 6'd someone with Hitmontop. Hitmontop has got a lot of viability out there for what it can do.
I feel like
Spin for speed boost, which is really good, and then Assault Vest sets are really good. Technician sets with freaking Triple Axle is scary.
Well, sure, but it's a defensive one.
Yeah, sure, it can kill people. But I would not call something with less attack than Mega Venusaur a physical breaker.
Hey, you get bulk up. Does Mega Venusaur get bulk up?
Venusaur gets Swords Dance, doesn't it?
Yup.
But I will say this is another great option for Terra. I do think Heliolisk is another strong, really good contender for Terra Captain as well. Just because it does have a very decent, diverse move pool for its stature.
Yeah, it actually does have a really decent move pool. And it can pivot out if something comes in that you don't like.
Yeah, it has U-turn and Volt Switch for pivoting, which is really strong. Vaporeon is really good. It's actually all the evolutions. All the evolutions you guys did not know got Calm Mind. And I think Calm Mind on a Vaporeon, god, that's just nasty. Yeah, that just sounds like a headache and a half.
But actually, finally, a team with decent removal with both Hitmontop, Dawnfan, and Togekiss effectively being able to run into their movesets. So
hey, don't forget Hydreigon. He can default.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
If you're using Hydreigon to default,
Hydreigon can also
to be Hydreigon.
Hydreigon can also set rocks now too.
Yeah, what the
fuck? That's another big thing too.
Something a little sketchy.
I think
too is
it's a little bit of a weird team that's specifically Gen 6 below. But overall, I think it can still perform well. It just really will come down to really how Frost uses it.
We've just kind of seen the same song and dance from team style similar to this for years now. I mean, if you can run it, go for it. But it's just,
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to number 10 with Wise Guy.
Yeah, we hear he's a pretty wise guy.
Oh my god.
I've never heard that.
You
want to tell me about it? That's a lot of defoggers.
That doesn't
Maybe he is a pretty wise guy.
Yeah, he's got pretty much got hazards on lock. I mean, he's got 3 really good 4 really good setters in Miltank, Corsola, Garchomp, and Annihilate.
Annihilate.
But you don't want to run Rocks on Annihilate. You kind of just want to be
Yeah.
clicking the funny button.
I definitely think the fact that, this team, I mean, it's not ranked quite as high, is because I think it kind of just relies, again, being almost in that type of situation where it's almost like another top-heavy team in some ways. I do love the Finny paired with something like Garchomp, Annihilate, and Scizor, just so it cannot get burned or parried in any shape or form. I like that for supporting a good, 3 offensive physical core. Especially, those 3 together are super strong, and I think they really cover each other's weaknesses decently well as well.
The only thing that's sketchy with Garchomp being with Finny is that it does weaken Garchomp's Dragon-type moves, and with Scale Shot, that's kind of sucky because it does want to run that a lot more.
It's
Honestly,
funny
you could get away without running and needing Dragon Stab if you have some really good reliable counters to Dragons.
Well, see,
It's funny
because
because this is like the opposite of the last one, where you only had special breakers. This one only has physical breakers.
It's got a few special breakers. Rotom's obviously very good. Finny, and do not sleep on Nasty Bad. Do not sleep on the Nasty Bad.
It's got 2 special attackers, but it doesn't have any special breakers. Let's be real.
Those are setup sweepers. They're not breakers. There's nothing that comes out immediately and is like, oh crap, what's my switch in?
Like, sure, you can run Specs, Rotom Heat, Overheat.
But then you're not.
That'll break some things. Yeah, but then you're not defogging with Rotom. Which, granted, you have Crobat. You don't need to be defogging with Rotom.
Yeah, and even Mega Scizor doesn't mind playing defog support if it needs to.
No, I think it's fine. The main thing about this team is the 130 to 102 speed gap is huge.
Yeah.
And very easy to exploit, especially with this team primarily being more defense focused. So it's
because Finny's definitely got a mon that has good speed, but it doesn't really want to take advantage unless it wants to speed creep through bulk. Otherwise, it's focused on either bulk or running special offense instead.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird because I feel like a lot of mons fit in that tier, so they can pretty reliably run like Modest or Adamant or whatever. So
Miltank as a Terra Captain is pretty interesting in my opinion. I definitely think it has a good couple abilities that I can take advantage of with its Terra typing that I can go with.
I'm so
like
excited.
Water for Sap Sipper and everything like that.
I'm so excited to see the Terra Captains be fully utilized because this is free open Terra, but on 9 points or below.
By the way, if anyone's wondering why we allow free Terra, free Terra is only broken if you know how to use it.
Plus, it's first season. We kind of just want to play with the new toys and see how it works. We learn, we grow, we prosper. Do you guys have any other things to say about the team, or should we move on?
I think we're ready to move on.
All right. Next up, we got the real Ebenespine. I can't speak.
Ebenespine?
Yeah, that.
Finally, he has spin in his name, and he's only got 1 spinner.
That's
lots of defoggers.
That's a dang shame. I really like the fact that you can bring every mon any given week. Finally, a team that's not super top heavy.
Yeah, this is like the first balanced team we've seen in terms of like points spent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in terms of you look at you're strong off the reliable defensive core. You've got the combination of Chestnut and Napoleon by itself, which used to be the major top tier Gen 6 defensive core back in the day because of how good they paired well with one another. Then you've got really good options of defensive utility with Weezing, Latias, and even Moltres to a certain degree, and then a great offensive breaking on this team on the special side with also Moltres, but also things like Latias, Raikou, which are super strong. And there is now a Terra Captain with a normal boosted, Terra boosted Boom Burst.
Teehee.
And he can run Scrappy.
Yup.
It's staying out officially Okos to 2 KOs, everything in the format.
Y'all thought Swellow was a menace with only 78 special attack?
It got a buff in Gen 7, you nerd.
I don't know. God.
He's also got a Firewater Grass core and a
Fair
Dragon
Steel.
Fairy Steel.
No Fighting Psychic Dark. Oh wait, no, he does. He does. He does. I'm lying. He does have Fighting Psychic Dark.
I was about to say, you don't see the Mega T-Tar or the Chestnut for their
I'm
fighting in Dark type.
dumb. Alright.
We already knew that.
Alright. Oh, mad props, by the way, for getting Mega T-Tar without any sand abuse. It does not need sand abuse. Like, you can just run
Yeah,
T-Tar
I mean,
fight
I
yourself.
have seen a personal. I have seen a friend of mine actually take T-Tar, and T-Tar was one of his all-time kill leaders for the season because
It's
of how
cool.
good it was. T-Tar is definitely one of those mons you just have to position well. If you can position Mega T-Tar to get like a Dragon Age 2 or get a Rock Polish set up and to start just tearing teams to shreds, you can get yourself into a great position. I think the Latios is a really good pickup as well because it's really good not only as a good offensive Pokemon under some certain instances, but Healing Wish support is super good with a team like this, especially when it's got good bulk, some great offensive pieces as well. They can take a really good reliance on that. It's just super strong.
Yeah, great bulk, not a lot of recovery, though, which is kind of sus. Also, a little bit of a gripe in the speed tiers, where the fastest mon on the team is Raikou, and then you go from Moltres to T-Tar from the 90 to 71 gap, which is a lot of mons. So
There's a lot of Pokemon in 80.
Yeah, so that's a bit and you know, faster mons can just outspeed this team fairly easily. You're probably
Especially
gonna
since your Mega T-Char wants to run Adamant anyways.
I mean, you could probably get away with like Quark Drive Treads, but I mean,
Then you're kind of forcing for
Steel.
specific speed creeping with treads to go and get a speed boost, essentially.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
And you
overall,
only
though,
get.
I'm excited to see how this team does because it's like pretty well balanced. So, I mean, good on you for not going stupid top heavy. All right. Anything else, guys?
No.
All right. Now we got Goose Fragger at number 8.
First pick Niflap. That's a good one.
Base Niflap with Coco is really nasty, and I really like that. That's a good first pick.
Yeah, that's just the Vortex right there.
You know what's funny? I have this exact duo in another league I have, and it's just so fun. I've been bringing it almost every single time now. Just you got the combination of you have an aquatic dolphin that is just so cute and lovable, but then turns into a superhero, paired with a superhero that saved you back in Gen 7. It's the fitting duo.
Yeah. Finally, a team also with like not terrible speed tiers.
Okay, what about the elephant in the room? The last pick Mega Garchomp.
Yeah, that's something.
How did that survive that long?
I genuinely... Garchomp is one of those mons where it's like, you either land your scale shots, or you lose to an ice beam somewhere.
The thing is, I feel like people don't use Mega Garchomp all that much, even because of Scale Shot. I don't think it's because of the reason like some people are just hesitant to want it. I just think people feel like they need to have like a sand presence with Garchomp just to make Garchomp such more of a devastating threat, which it definitely will be every single time. But again, I just feel like that's the only time people are starting to draft mons like Mega Chomp, just because it has to get that sand to get a boost to it.
Well, he has sand. He's got the Tyranitar.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. That's why you probably don't see a ton of people use Mega Garchomp because there's no sand. And
I see Mega Garchomp every league go in like the first 2 rounds.
They might just be more excited to use it, because, I mean, it does get Sword Stance, Scale Shot, which is insane. Plus, Sandforce only boosts its ground and rock move, so it's not super huge.
Don't sleep on Special Mega Garchomp. That thing's got some really strong special offensive prowess as well.
It's got base
when even
120.
Mix Chomp is also scary.
Base 120 special attack. That is nuts. That's It's a nightmare of a mon to switch into. But I also think this team has pretty good options to get it in. You got the slow pivot with Null and the Decidueye, so that's not bad. Pretty easy to get in.
And you have dual screens with Klefki.
Yep.
I do think the Cryogonal is a bit of a weird pick for a Terra Captain, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think there were still some better options on the board, but I imagine since he had to get this as a spinner and a defogger for his team, he would have to get an option for even. I mean, he can probably find some use for it, but I just feel like when you're looking at Terra captains, you want to make sure you get yourself a good definitive Terra captain that has a lot of diversity to it. That's gonna have to make these people very much be thinking like, oh, this Terramon might be weak in points, but it's gotta be it's his captain, so I gotta take it into consideration. I feel
Honestly,
like Trigonal doesn't do that.
Terra Steel Cryogonal is actually kind of a nightmare to deal with, especially for like special psychics and dragons. So it's an actual set that's been running around on ladder that I've been seeing. So it's definitely something that's a decent pickup for the Terra Captain. Plus, it's really good speed for the team. Probably the most reliable recovery. Or well, yeah, it's one of 2 mons that have reliable recovery on this team. This is probably the best remover on this team.
I think the one thing that kind of makes this team just go a little far back on this list is that it kind of relies more on. It's got some mixed options, but you kind of look at this team, you kind of just see like physical.
It's very offensive.
And yeah, there's not too much bulk besides type null really, and clef key for screens. Otherwise, there's no like reliable bulk besides type null.
Which, I mean, I think this team can work pretty effectively because you just kind of chip things down with Coco, with like T-Tar, Chomp, Decidueye, and just finish things off with Palafin and Coco. So I think good.
Yeah, Coco's got a stab volt switch, and Nifflap has a stab flip turn, so that's a lot of easy chip right there too.
Yeah. I think we can move on.
And overall, this team is very strong.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's gonna be a nice to switch into. Up next, we got number 7 being Sacred TD. Oh.
If you ever thought of top heavy, literally, this team is just the top 6, and that's it. Well, occasionally Overquill, but literally, this is all you're seeing. The Stanley Solosis, it's never coming. I don't care what you say, Holmes. It's never coming.
There are, I think actually in this season, I think there are only like 2 or 3 coaches that had more than 9 mons, which is kind of insane. But I mean, to be fair, holy shit, what a top 6! Like that's insanely good. You got the Chien-Pao, Great Tusk.
Chien-Pao, first off, being just like my overall favorite Pokemon this generation, there's really not a switch into Chien-Pao. It's a little limited in terms of its coverage, but when you have an ability that just says, F your defense, I'm just going to click a choice banded hit and just kill you regardless. It's so strong. I mean, Great Tusk also being a really good rapid spinner and a really strong offensive breaker. You got Ferroform, which is the best hazard setter out there in the format. And then, of course, the Mega Zard, which at times has no switch-ins at all.
No, and I mean, I will say normally Zard is kind of hard to pull off, but I think you're doing okay because you have Starmie and Great Tusk, which are probably some of the best spinners, period. So you have ways of getting the hazards off your field, but I'm a little worried because that's all you have. So it might be a little bit awkward to get it in, and if a team just is very persistent with hazards, it could be getting very awkward very fast.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Defog, I think only Enamorus does, but Enamorus never wants to run Defog just because it just ruins what it can do.
It does not have Defog.
It doesn't? Oh, well, then it's a trash mode. But Overquill, though, as a Terra Captain, I find this very interesting because it already has only one normal weakness. So the fact that it can customize itself to fit as not only defensive Terra typing, but also offensive, is very interesting.
I'm really excited to see how it does. I'm not too sure what Overquill does, but I'm kind of excited to find out. I think it's pretty cool.
It's kind of more of just like a good, like, kind of bulky hazard setter, kind of just how Quillfish does with Intimidate support. I think...
Yeah, it sets up spikes, toxic spikes, and goes boom.
Yeah, I mean, I think boom is actually a really good option for this team because it seems like it's...
You can set up your spikes and toxic spike layers, and then you can tear a normal explosion.
Yeah, that could be kind of nasty, and then just let Zard come in and spam buttons, or Chien-Pao, or Great Tusk, or something. I think the team does top heavy the best. Well, probably one of the better options.
Yeah, 100%.
Out of what we've seen so far.
Yeah, just because the offensive pressure this team can exert is ludicrously good.
100%. I think
Another really physically oriented team, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Your only best special breaker is Starmie, unless you're gonna be that guy and run a special Charizard X,
Yeah.
which is possible because Zardex actually has the same as his attack, so it's not a
Yeah, your
terrible.
best special breaker is
Is an
Zardex, which is kind of weird.
That's an Amorous. It's got 135 special attack.
But
It's
No, true.
I'm not too sure what
But-
it does. I know it's got like Springtide Storm and it does like a butt ton. I think it has more base power than Moonblast, but I don't.
Most
really know what it does.
Enamorous sets are contrary superpower, though. I wasn't really looking at that.
Yeah, you can run it. But
yeah, I think that's the one downside of Enamorous with having Contrary. It doesn't get anything that really benefits it besides superpower.
yeah. All right. Moving on to number 6, we got IDK 758 with the most rain team of rain teams I've ever seen.
We do want to state that he was not originally in the draft. He had to unfortunately take over for a team pretty much at the end of the draft. He basically finished the last 2-3 picks and customized his team several times until the points were good for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
After he came out, his team, like the reason why we have it relatively high, because we all do believe that this is a good team. There's only just one problem with this team, and it just seems like it's just a gimmick team essentially.
I wouldn't say it's very boom or bust in terms of its rain, but the abuse that this rain has is borderline absurd. With Iron
He even
Bundle,
brought
Cart,
he-
and Swampert.
he even brought all the pieces to support Rain. Like he's got the dual screens, he's got Kartana, he's got the Dragon type, he's got the Electric type. His Azelf, which I think can set Rain Dance again. He's got webs for when rain goes down and you're working with Adamant or modest sweepers.
Yeah, it's very rain focused, which means it doesn't have a whole lot of utility, which is another reason why we kind of had to knock it down.
It's a really well put together Rain team, but because it's such a gimmick in being exclusively a Rain team.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I feel like you're always bringing probably say you can kind of just bring the first 4, almost first 5 actually, pretty much every single week and be fine. Then you have a filler spot for like maybe rocks with Azel or special breaker with Ready Drago, or you set up or another special breaker with Toxicity. I personally don't think Surskit's ever coming. I think it's just there as a filler bond for 9 point, and then just to be a Terra captain mascot there for the team.
Yeah, fun
But
little Surskit. Hey,
Iron
Dusk's
Bundle
swim,
and
swim.
Rain just does not sound fun.
Hydro Pump go brr. It's gonna be crazy, especially with freaking Quark Drive. Jesus Christ. This team is gonna be dummy hard to switch into. So if you don't have
The only
if you don't
thing
have
we have to
strong-
really kind of knock on this team though is like very like no hazards besides Azelf and Swampert. There's no really good reliable defog besides Pelipper.
It's just it's very low in utility, so it's very boomer bust with the rain. So you better preserve that Pelipper. All right.
Or he could.
It only has 8 roosts now.
Yeah, which is pretty substantial. All right. Moving on to number 5 in Gerut. Gerut. It's bog standard Torn Tea Glow King Regen Core makes me want to vomit. And then along with Tinglu makes me actually want to throw up.
Followed by another offensive.
At least it's not the snail.
Slugby, where are you?
I feel like
Nowhere,
this
I hope.
team for like the first like 6 picks were great, but afterwards it just is really weird and random.
I mean, the first 6 picks are pretty good. Dash Bund.
That's what I'm saying. Like the top half of this draft is really great, but then you get to the second half, it's just like, what?
Dash Bund is actually like, unironically, pretty decent budget fairy. Like it's Wish Passer. It's got well-baked body, so that just gives it a fire immunity, which is really nice for this team because you don't really have that many fire switch-ins. I mean, other than Rotom Wash and maybe Knuckle Stack, but
Yo,
I
you
think it's
you
pretty
sleeping on Darn being a fire switching?
Bro, that doesn't even. He doesn't
Yeah,
even
I
switch into
am.
anything.
Y'all just
Darm
hate it.
switches into a fire move and still dies.
Also, ban Arctazol, best mon in the draft format. 18 points or ban.
This is also when Hanch
He doesn't
realized
even
that
have
he must
anything
be
to
that tired
support
that he's making a
Arkansas.
comment like that.
What?
That you're that tired that you have to make a comment like that saying it's a good mon.
Arctazol's nuts, unironically.
There's one
Yeah, but
problem
he
with that being nuts. It's
doesn't
not on
have.
hail.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
he
I
doesn't
don't
have
think
hail support.
I don't think it needs it, to be honest. I mean, you could probably just run Scarf and be okay. Could definitely.
And then
Even
cry
Scarf
every
is
time a
super
ground
slow.
type comes in.
No, it gets Blizzard and Freeze Dry. So,
Yeah, but you're always pressing Bolt Beat.
Unless you're predicting a ground. But
Yeah, I mean, I do think this bottom half is not terrible. I do agree that Knuckle Stack is a very viable pick. That thing is super good defensive. And plus, with Purifying Salt, you can't toxic this thing. You cannot burn this thing. This thing is also weakens ghost type moves to make it a viable ghost switch in. This Pokemon is nuts. Dashman also being a Terra Captain, a little bit of a weird one there, but he had to pick one.
I think it's pretty damn
But-
good. Give it a steel typing, and that's a fire immune steel type with Wish
Yeah, that's a
Pass.
viability, yeah. I
But-
do love the Darm pick, though. Darm has just been always that tried and true wall breaker that everyone loves. Is so good in Draft League. And you have the strong defensive core between Galokeen plus Tingaloo, which also works as a phenomenal Trick Room core as well with those two.
Mm-hmm. The one awkward thing with this team, I will say, is as again with the speed tiers, because you go from 121 with Torn T to Darmanitan, and then again with 85 from Misdreavus down to like 55 with Arctazol. It's sketch. It's really sketchy.
Yeah, I think overall this team was built decently well. I just think again you just gotta look around. Maybe some of the speed could have been a little bit better, and then also kind of making a little bit of a here and there tweak. But I think overall this team, and I think it's gonna perform very well this season.
Overall, the team's really good. I mean, you also got Lop to just clean up the scraps from whatever Darm or Torn do, or the Glow King chip. I think it's fairly solid. All right. Moving on to number 4. We got Awesomeness Guy.
He's a pretty awesome guy.
Hee hee.
This team's pretty cool.
Haha, hee hee, hoo hoo, haha.
Where do we
Pult
start?
Sneasler is really funny.
Oh,
Pult Sneasler
this
is
team,
hilarious.
this definitely looks like a fun team. I personally would love to use just because you already get Dragapult, which he, by the way, since he was a previous season champion, franchise Dragapult, which definitely was a smart move if we were allowing Terra for all of that. Then that would be, but even in Nat Dex, if you can't Terra, it's still relatively good. But then you pair it with Sneasler, and oh my god, Sneasler's so much fun to use in this format. Take out normal gem into acrobatics. White herb, close combat with unburdened. This Pokemon wrecks shop.
This team is finally one that has insanely good speed.
So, how did he have enough points to afford all these Pokemon?
Well, at first he didn't have enough points to afford all these Pokemon until he made trades after the draft, but then he made the points possible.
Yeah. No, it's...
One of I think the sleeper picks on this team is going to be the Hisuian Arcanine. Rockhead, Flare Blitz plus Rockhead.
I think
it's
oof.
Yeah, you've got Head Smash and
Did you
Flare
just make
Blitz
a
both
woof
affected
joke
by
as a
Rocket.
dog? Come on, Hans, you're better than that.
What?
No, he's not.
What do you mean? Ah.
You said
See,
woof like
he did it on
woof, like
he
a
did it
dog
on
goes
accident. I
No,
told
I
you he's
said-
not better than that.
I said Arcanine to Sui goes oof. One's
woof. Yeah,
busted.
it sounded like you said woof, like a dog would do.
Woof, woof. Also, pivoting on this team is
Alright.
insanely good.
Yep, I think like teleport on Gardevoir is not the best, but I don't think it's the worst type of help and support of that.
You
You
got
also have really strong.
Yeah, but look at how many
U-turners.
U-turners he has.
he's got
He's got
Sneasler,
3. Then he's got 2
Persian.
Volt Switchers.
Sneasler, Persian, Manaphy, Gligar, Dragapult.
Well,
He's got
Persian probably wants to use parting
Yeah,
shot over
Persian's
Well,
parting
still.
shot, not your
it's both.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I mean, the team is going to
It's
be
got-
constantly putting offensive pressure on the opponent, and
I
there's not
do
much they can
think
do.
a little bit of the hazards are definitely pressured onto Fortress. I mean, Gligar can run rocks as well.
I
But
mean,
Gligar sometimes likes having a little bit more of versatility towards it.
to be fair,
And
Fortress kind of just is a hazard bot, and then Volt switch out into whatever threat needs to come in and force
it's
something out.
Fortress is
Let's-
also one of the only 2 hazard removals on this team.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't even want to run hazard removal even that much too.
Let's not ignore the Terra Jolteon because
Yes,
Jolteon
my boy!
took a huge hit when every draft league started banning hidden power, but now it can run Terra Blast Fire again.
Oh, it's so good. I'm happy it's
What
back.
do you mean Terra Blast Fire? There's Terra Blast Ice.
Mad respect for Mega Abomasnow, too.
That's the one thing I don't know about this team. It just seems so random to have Bomb Stone.
He's just there, man. He's big chillin'. I'm really
Wow.
excited.
Wow.
I want this thing to do well. I
This
never
man
see
first
it.
made a wolf joke. Now he's making a nice joke. He's just swinging and missing.
Dude, I am hilarious today. Y'all don't even know.
You're
I
kind
am
of funny
so
looking,
funny.
so you got a point there.
Oh
Yeah,
my
right?
God. Yeah.
But I think overall this team is very, very strong, and I'm really. It's gonna be interesting to see how well Awesomeness can actually use this team.
The constant offensive pressure is going to be very oppressive for his opponents. All right, moving on to number 3. I don't know how the hell he made it up this far, but we got Thriller.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little surprised too how far I made this up here. So, the preference for my team, I was kind of not trying to focus on top heavy, but then I really needed to fix some things because there were a few things on this team I did not originally draft, but I had to kind of fix around. First off, with the draft spot I was at, I was definitely guaranteed something super broken, so I kind of was okay with it ever got back to me. But the fact
Weren't
that
you
Roy
like
Moon
3rd or
did,
something?
oh, I think it was like 5th draft.
You were something high, but yeah, the Roaring Moon
Yeah,
plus
but-
Mega Dancy plus Gholdengo, Fair Dragon Steel.
I want to
is
say this right now.
fire.
I don't know how the hell Goldango made it to me. I have no idea how that made it back to me.
Yeah, that's
Because-
just an insane Fair Dragon Steel
I-
core.
If you were 5th pick, I don't know how that even made it to your first pick.
For real.
Let
Rory
alone your
Moon, there were
second
some
pick.
other better options over Rory Moon, in my opinion, with Valiant and Jim Powell, which is fair. But I think the
Still.
fact that Palafin went before Rory Moon, that was a little surprising for me. Because at that point in time, I was either getting Palafin or Rory Moon, so I would have been very happy with that.
I would have thought the first 3 would be Chen Pao, Palafin, Goldengo, honestly.
Well, in my opinion, Goldango, depending on the format, it's not a round 1 pick. It's definitely round 1 worthy, but it's not a round 1 like top 3 pick type of thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
back to my team, like I wanted like a good couple of things right here. I got, like my Iron Moth, which shoutouts to I believe it was Goose Fragger for letting me get my Iron Moth. He's the legend. He got cookies, while Hodge doesn't get
He
cookies.
kept crying
But,
about it in the draft.
I
chat.
have proven Iron Moth is
Oh,
broken
my
in the
God.
speed tours we've done in MBAs, Ubers, and I've loved this Pokemon. Ursaluna, one of the best grounds in the format, which I was very surprised to get at pick 5 in the rounds.
It's one of those mons I think where it's like an offensive ground where I know a lot of people kind of shy away from those because a lot of the times they want their ground to have some kind of defensive utility. But
Yeah, and if everyone's wondering, yes, I was actually able to pick up Mega Dancy as my last pick, and I don't know how people were. I was able to budget out my points to do so, which is funny.
Rabsky
but,
does not have Revival Blessing. Revival Blessing.
I already knew that.
Well, I'm just saying.
Plus,
for
Royal
Yon,
Blessing is kind of not really good to fit on this unless it was VGC. Also, we need to clarify this because we made a little bit of a dum-dum on this one, probably for some people's taste. This Tauros that I have is allowed to run both the Aqua and Blaze forms that it does have. So I have 3 forms of the Tauros. That is also my Terra Captain. And I feel like this was a smart strategy pick for a Terra Captain. Not only having 3 forms, but with the move pools that Tauros has in this generation is super strong. I definitely think it can be very customizable to my team. Sicilian Lilligant, I'm not gonna lie, is probably one of the more random picks you see on this team, but I think there's some confidence in this pick that is really, really good about it. But I just wanted to get a grass type. But my team again, kind of like top 6 between the top 3, followed by Ursula and Mega Dancy, and then kind of just fit in whenever I want. But this is just one of the most broken offensive teams I've ever had.
The only main problems with this team is kind of like the Rain team, no real utility because it solely relies on Rotom Defog and I guess Mega Dancy with Magic Bounce, but that's kind of terrible having it just switch into hazards when it could just get smacked by a steel move or something.
Yeah.
No real hazards either. I mean, you got Diancie and Iron Moth, but they don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, I've always been a person that doesn't really draft hazards or focus on that. I like having the option to it, but I'm more of the go with the flow, just don't care kind of thing. But
Boots are my
I'm super
removal.
yeah, but I'm super excited for this team. I think this is a strong team that I've ever drafted, and definitely hoping to do work with it this season.
Definitely a damn good one. All right. Moving on to number 2, we got Miklas, my boy, my Sunny Shore best friend.
Wait, Honch has friends?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Exactly. Ari is the best friend. Doi. Yeah. First off the bat, Mekazam. Hi there. And along with I see you have 4 broken slow pivots that get this thing in absurdly easily. Oh.
It's a really strong draft.
It's really good, and I think it's probably the best way that Megazam can work. Like
yeah, what I personally mean, you got Zam, which gets the best pairing when it comes to what you need for the best steel types, what are the best dark types. Infernape's right there with great priority options in both Lock and Vacuum Wave. And then you got one of the best steals in Draft League as well as being Corviknight for its great defensive utility. Then you got one of the best special fairy wall breakers in the game in Primarina.
You got some pretty
nasty
super strong with Porygon 2, Gourgeist, Corv as well. Like the team is fairly.
I also think Gourgeist being a Terra captain is I think is going to be really good, especially with the
offensive. I want to see offensive growth set.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like we're seeing a lot of cool, form usage from the Gourgeist forms that can be taken advantage of offensive.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's super great. I mean, Dragalge also. That I feel like people will sleep on that pick a lot because Dragalge a lot of people just think it's it's just hazards and flip turn.
Oh,
that thing with the choice specs will just nuke everything if you are not careful.
It never runs hazards, my guy. It's almost always like assault vest.
Oh, I've seen people run hazards with this thing.
I always see assault vest on it.
They're wasting their technology. They're wasting it, man. They're wasting it. But yeah, I mean the offensive duo of Megazam and Infernape is just insane. And
I will say the
hazards game is really weak.
Yeah,
there's that, and I feel like it's a bit of a ghost weak team. Like, yeah, you got Crocodile, but then if they just know the Crocodile will be the switch in, if it's not Porygon, it just gets Will-O-Wisp and kind of neutrals its dark typing. And Porygon's a good ghost switch in, but it doesn't need to always be reliant as a ghost switch in, especially when that will kind of have to force Porygon to either be hopefully like they're not sub and it toxics it, or it has to carry Shadow Ball every single time.
See, I'm not as worried about ghosts just because P2 just stonewalls 90% of the ghosts, which is really insane. I'm just more worried about the speed between Zam and Infernape because again, that's a ginormous gap that a lot of things can take advantage of.
Yeah, if you really think about it, this is only 2 that are over a base 100. There could have been maybe getting one more in there possibly, if there could have been anything at least. But I think you got strong offensive breakers, followed with some decent physically defensive breakers as well, and special defensive ones that can just have good options for setup. Like AV offensive Prim can still put in a lot of good work to take so many hits and be able to dish out. Pivoting is I mean, pivoting's not terrible with this one as well.
Pivoting's incredible with this team because you got 2 really good slow flip turners. You got P2 with teleport, Rotom Volt Switch, Infernape U-turn, Corv. The team is all over the place, and it's really interesting because it's very good at positioning itself to capitalize on Zam in the best possible ways. So I'm really excited to see how this Zam just pops off and takes first in the kill leaders. All right. Moving on to our final and number 1 pick, we got Lucas. Now, unfortunately, he did recently drop, which sucks because he's first in the power rankings. Because name me one thing on God's green earth that switches into Chi-Yu Mega Heracross.
Also, can we just point out to this, how in the hell he was able to get Zeraora round 4 as well?
Rillaboom round 5.
It's a cleaner.
Rillaboom's irrelevant.
You're right. Tapu is the superior Grassy Surgemon.
Oh my god, stop. Oh yeah, the team...
I personally do think this is a really good team. I think Chi-Yu is arguably one of, if not the most broken special wall breaker. Again, with I'm going to lower your special defense basically by 1 guaranteed every time I'm in. And just claim a KO or 2-way KO something.
And then Mega
Heracross, which
Trailblaze.
Trailblaze was a big buff to Mega Heracross that I also kind of really appreciates it as well, which is one of the...
It finally doesn't have to rely on webs to be good. Because now you can just...
Or Trick Room to be good.
Force a switch with bringing Heracross in, click Trailblaze, and curtains. I also like the budget defensive core with Mega Steelix, Autono, Carkol, and Noivern, because you need something to soak up physical hits.
Steelix is not a Mega.
Shush. I said Steelix and Autono.
Oh, you said Mega Steelix and Autono.
Oh, I was talking low tier earlier. Shush. And Slowbro, like it's a really solid offensive core, albeit a little bit more physically oriented.
You mean defensive?
Defensive.
You just called Steelix, Autono, and Slowbro an offensive core.
Yeah, this is our commissioner, guys. This is
Oh my god, yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
At least he didn't say Gudra had Volt Switch.
That's the only one good thing that he hasn't said.
Oh, good lord.
But yeah, I think overall this team is like very solid. I think it's got the right amount of bulk, the right amount of offense. Noivern obviously also having Frisk, which is really good for a team like this to get the prior knowledge to know with having to pivot in your offensive thing. The only thing about this team that is just really weird for me is the last 3. I mean, Audino I can understand why, but what makes it weird with Audino is just the fact that it's the Terra cap. I feel like Terra Audino is very weird.
I kind of like it as like a bulky regen water. You could run it that or just customize it to whatever defensive typing you need the most. I mean,
doesn't Audino get Calm Mind?
I think so, but this team does not need. No. Yeah, you got Chi-Yu, you got Heracross, you got Zeraora and Rillaboom to clean up the scraps. I think you.
I mean, don't forget Archeops. He'll clean up those scraps too.
Archeops will eat a brick. I don't know.
Archeops, I feel like will
obviously an offensive Terra Captain, guys.
Oh yeah, you're right.
You want an offensive Terra Captain? Just there's Carkol right there. Where's Orin when you need him?
Oh, good lord. Yeah, speed tiers are actually pretty immaculate on the top end, which is great.
Yeah, from Zeraora down to Noivern, down to Chi-Yu.
Down to Archeops to Chi-Yu, and then Rillaboom hit priority, so it doesn't really matter that much.
You only missed the 90.
Yeah, I mean, even then, I mean, you still have your defensive core, which I think is, you know, that's fine. But yeah, I think it's.
You don't sound very excited about the defensive core.
I'm very excited about the defensive core. I don't think anyone will be able to break it. I will bust out my popcorn and watch while the team cries about it. Anyway.
That's because I'm not in this division.
Oh, good lord. All right. Anyway, I don't think I can handle much more of these two. That is the PRs for Moonblast MBA Season 4. Let us know what you think in the comments. And we hope to see you in MBA. Any final words, folks?
No.
I would like to say to all the people in Moonblast, hope you guys enjoy the video. And again, these are just opinions. Prove us wrong in the season, and let's see how good everyone can truly be. Because I'm coming to that NBA championship.
You could have just
No
stopped
one's
these.
Yeah. Yeah, prove us wrong. Make sure Thriller gets last.
Yeah, there you go. Speaking of which, check out Thriller's YouTube channel. I don't think he's going to be recording this season, but
No, I am. I've just got other leagues at the current moment that I'm recording.
Well,
I'm
I see
saving
how
all the
it
other
is.
recordings.
So yeah, go check out his channel. I'm sure we got some stuff in. Well, I'll put a link to his channel in the description. Yeah. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Good luck, NBA. Bye bye.
Peace.
Good luck, Hodge.